This podcast is not sponsored or supported by any business or organization. The views reflected on these podcast episodes are my own. Be aware I am not a medical doctor, travel agent, or any other kind of expert. But I hope you still enjoy. Hey friends, welcome to the Gluten-Free Advocate, a Substack and podcast that helps me process my health journey and my determination to pretend that those health conditions don't exist at all. If you're looking for tips, tricks, and learnings for traveling the world with celiac disease and type 1.5 diabetes, you have come to the right place. Now, let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Gluten-Free Advocate. Right now in the gluten-free community or in the celiac disease community, you're gonna hop onto your social media platforms and there's gonna be some controversy on there because there's a brand who shall not be named that is rubbing all of us the wrong way and providing content for us on their social media platforms that's quite upsetting, and then gave a lukewarm apology for it all. Well, if you're frustrated and upset by all of that, I really encourage you to listen to this podcast episode. Carolyn from MIGHTYLICIOUS, she is the CEO. It started in her little kitchen and, has kind of skyrocketed ever since, and really good quality gluten-free cookies. And at the time, we talk about this in the episode, but at the time that we were diagnosed, there just was nothing out there of quality for gluten-free desserts. And, companies like MIGHTYLICIOUS are part of why it's gotten to a point where we can now say, okay, this isn't just good for gluten-free, this is just good. And I love hearing from Carolyn, who took time out of her really busy schedule to talk with me and discuss why she is so passionate as herself with celiac disease. It's so important for her to be involved in the day-to-day of her operations. And I learned a ton because to me, I thought baking and cooking were art forms, and she broke it down to me where she made science interesting for me, which up until this point, I didn't really care. So all that and more on this week's episode of the Gluten-Free Advocate. Whoa, guys, hello. All that and more on this week's episode of the Gluten-Free Advocate. Thanks for listening. Till next time. Hi, Carolyn. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Hi, Ashley. Thanks so much for having me.
So I'm learning about you, and I know that my audience is going to be learning about you. Do you mind introducing us to yourself in your own words? Would love to hear from you about you.
Yeah, I'm Carolyn Haeler. I'm the founder of MIGHTYLICIOUS. I was diagnosed with celiac disease in 2012 and had previously lived a gluten-full life up until that point, and then had to sort of learn how to be gluten-free and heal my body. Became uninspired and frustrated with the gluten-free options that were on the market and decided to leave my corporate job in finance and start a gluten-free cookie company.
I love that. That's so exciting. Do you mind taking us through what your celiac diagnosis journey was?
Sure. I just graduated from graduate school and I'd moved from Connecticut down to Manhattan. I'm from New York originally, but I never lived in Manhattan. It's a whole other sort of beast from the other cities I had lived in, and had started a brand new career. So sort of like a lot of things happening, new city, new career, new industry, all of the above. And I started just having some indigestion. It was nothing I was very concerned about, but it was annoying enough that I was talking to my doctor about it.
Yeah.
Over the course of the next 9 months, I was working down on Wall Street, and this was during the protests down at Ducati Square.
Okay.
In the wake of the financial crisis. So this is like 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
So getting up every morning, being protested on my way into work, and just having indigestion over the course of 9 months. It evolved to my entire immune system failing. So my hair was falling out, my skin had turned gray, my stomach was distended and painful, I had body aches and joint aches, I was exhausted, but I couldn't sleep. And my doctor looked at me, and we'd done a lot of testing. We did blood tests, we'd done elimination diets, we did all the things. And so my doctor looked at me and he goes, maybe you have HIV. And I was like, maybe
Wow.
You should have tested for that 9 months ago.
Yeah.
And that's a very sort of
intense,
startling. Yeah, it's a very hard thing to hear. and imagine the crescendo of thoughts that are going through your
Right.
mind, because I've been very sick for nearly a year at this point.
Yeah.
Um, and fortunately, I didn't have to live with that sort of fear for very long. I had a couple days later, I had an endoscopy and colonoscopy scheduled to see what's going on with my digestive system, and they found the antibodies for celiac disease, and were
Okay.
like, "Congratulations!" Handed me a single sheet of paper that sort of defined celiac disease and the foods I could and couldn't eat, and said, "Congratulations!" And it was a relief. In that moment, I was so utterly relieved to have an answer and to feel like I had control over the problem. My sister is in medicine and she was like, "Oh, that's going to be miserable." But I was like, "Oh my God, I can't eat like bread and donuts and pasta. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going
Yeah.
to be fine." Um, I did take that information and I immediately just stopped eating anything packaged because I'd already tried to do elimination diets. And so I was like, I only ate things for the next week um, that had a stem on it. Like I could see where it was plucked off a tree, and or if it was, protein, I could see where it was like carved off the animal. It had not been
Right.
processed. It was like
Yeah.
you could still see the knife marks. And within, this is a couple days before Thanksgiving, within 48
Oh, wow.
hours, like my cheeks turned pink again. Like the response of my body and my immune system was immediate. Obviously, it took me a very long time to completely heal my body and get back to, and I don't know if I'll ever be back to my pre-diagnosis because um, of all the damage I'd done to my colon in the process.
Mm.
Um, but it was very transformative for me. So it began my journey of truly being gluten free. I react to trace amounts of gluten in 180 seconds.
Wow.
So in my company, we do, controlled testing. We test the product, we send it out for
Yep.
testing. We have all these test kits and they take about 10 minutes and I take 3 minutes
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
detect trace amounts of gluten. And I mean, one of the things that is scary to me is soy sauce, because I always ask for
Mm.
gluten-free soy sauce, but a lot can happen between the table and the kitchen.
Yep. Yep.
The difference between the normal soy sauce and the gluten-free soy sauce is just the color of the cap. So I usually take the tip of my chopstick and put it in the soy sauce and just touch it to my tongue to make sure it's gluten-free. And I react in like 3 minutes just from that amount of soy
Oh,
sauce.
I mean, that's incredible, but also horrifying because I have to sit around and it's usually 2 hours until the onset happens for me. So, terrible,
Yeah.
but also helpful when it happens in
Helpful.
three
It is
minutes.
helpful
Yeah.
because I know, like, if I have, like, there's only so many bites you can consume in 3 minutes, right? Like,
Right.
so I can
Right.
never really harm myself too much.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So you and I were diagnosed about the same time with celiac disease as far as year goes. And I remember cookies, like getting my first gluten free cookie and it crumbled to the touch, as did bread, as did
Yeah.
everything that
Yeah.
was gluten
Yeah.
free.
Hmm.
So, as far as you making the decision, which I wish I were as smart as you, but I was in high school, so there's only so much I could have done at that time. But what was your process in getting started and figuring out all these different recipes to find the one that worked?
Yeah, I'm very like stubborn, I guess, and focused, but I have no culinary experience. I mean, I love food and
Yeah.
I love baking and I love cooking and I do those things as a hobby. So
Yeah.
I was familiar with baking, but certainly baking like as a hobby on vacation or
Yeah.
during the summertime is very different from commercial baking. But I was just like, I'd gone to business school, and one of my professors was Barry Nailbuff, and he's one of the
Okay.
founders of Honest Tea.
Okay.
And so we learned all about their sort of story from them,
Yep.
Seth and Barry. And he was like, tells the whole story of like brewing the tea in their kitchen and, figuring out how to brew the green tea and then putting the tea in the bottle and putting a label on a Snapple bottle and then
Mm.
Seth driving it to Whole Foods. And I was like, well, these maroons can do that, so could I, you know.
Yes.
Tea and cookies are not the same thing, and not to be sound dismissive, but tea is dirty water.
Yeah.
It's like a puddle is tea, like a puddle in the fall with leaves in it, that's tea, right? And so tea, not to say it's not technical, but creating tea and creating a cookie are very different,
Right.
vastly different chemistries and processes. So I spent about 3 months in my apartment. I left my job. I was also sort of like at a career inflection. I'd been working in finance at that point. By the time I left my job, it had been 5 years of diagnosis. So I'd been working in finance for 6 years. I didn't like my job.
Mm.
I was tired. I was burnt out. I was frustrated. I didn't know what I wanted to do next. And that is not very like me.
Mm.
I don't deal with that very often. So this was sort of like me just taking a pause at the same time. Like I needed
Mm.
a break and I needed a fresh start. I needed something interesting and creative to focus on. So I spent 3 months acting like a stockbroker, like getting up at 6 in the morning, baking for 12 hours or more, like till 10 o'clock at night,
Oh,
and
wow.
baking thousands of disgusting cookies, and realized pretty quickly that the chemistry for gluten-free baking doesn't exist, which explains a lot
Mm.
of the really terrible products that are out there.
Yep.
Tried all the recipes I could find online, tried cookbooks, and realized all of this is terrible. It doesn't taste good. I wouldn't even eat it or give it away for free. Like, I wouldn't even give it to my doorman for free because it was that awful. And realized that the primary problem was the flour blend, that
Mm.
you have to think about wheat not just as an ingredient, but as a technology
Right.
upon which our civilization is founded.
Yeah.
Wheat is a tremendous technology in that it grows abundantly, it grows annually, it's relatively easy to grow. All you need are some seeds and some fertile land and some water, and it grows almost in most climates. It grows like that's incredible. Um, it also, the protein in wheat is perfect. So wheat has a very neutral flavor, which is incredible.
Mm.
It can be savory, it can be sweet. It caramelizes, so it turns brown, which is feeds the eye, so it looks good when you bake with it. And then the protein is incredible because you can knead it a lot and develop that protein, and you get something tough like a sourdough bread or pizza, or you could be really gentle with it and get something as light and delicate as like angel food cake. And you can do all of these things with one single ingredient.
Yeah.
And that is tremendous. There's no other grain out there that can do that, which is why we are either a rice or wheat based culture,
Right.
oftentimes both. So replacing rice is a wonderful grain, and also used worldwide, but very different in its chemistry. Rice has 1/400th the amount of protein that wheat has, so it performs very different,
Right.
especially when you're baking something more complex like a cookie or croissants. Just doesn't have the strength or the elasticity. So I had to like work through this and like sort of teach myself some of these culinary techniques. And I spent 3 months baking terrible cookies, realized I had to come up with my own flour blend in order for it to come out.
Mm.
Created my flour blend, created some incredible cookies. And then I did what I learned from business school. I took my cookies and I bought a tin tie coffee bag off of Amazon, like a pack
Okay.
of 50.
Yep.
I printed out, like I had a nice laser jet printer, like a
Mm-hmm.
photo one, like a home one, a few
Yep.
$100s, but like an above average printer. Printed out a pretty label, put it onto my tin tie coffee bag, put my cookies inside, and sealed it all up. And walked into the Whole Foods. I lived on 72nd Street, and there's a Whole
Okay.
Foods on 86th Street here in Manhattan. So I just walked into that Whole Foods. I walked up to the information booth and I said, "Hi, I make gluten-free cookies. I'm looking for feedback." And the woman behind the booth was like, "Great, go talk to Chris in the bakery section." So I walked over to like the cakes and the bagels and the muffins, and I was like, there's a man standing behind the cake counter, and I walked over and he goes, "Hi, I'm Chris." I was like, "Hi, I'm Carolyn." I was like, "I make gluten-free cookies." He said, "Great." He came around the counter, tasted my cookies, took them out of the bag. He was like, "That's the best gluten-free cookie I've ever tasted." He said, "I'm Chris," and he handed me his business card. "I'm the team leader here. I want you to go down to Union Square in Brooklyn, talk to the team leaders there." I don't even know what means, but I'm like taking notes. I'm like, "Okay, team leaders, Union Square, Brooklyn. And if we all email the regional office, we have this like local forager program. They might onboard you." And I was like, "Fantastic."
Oh,
I was like,
great.
"This is incredible," because I'm used to being like hung up on and sweared at for like cold
Yeah.
calling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just have these cookies that I've made in my 24-inch oven, and I have like a total of 10 of them. So I go down to Union Square into Brooklyn, and this takes all day if you know anything about Manhattan.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Getting from the Upper East Side to Union Square, it takes about an hour, and then getting all the way to Brooklyn and then home again is like an all day activity.
Yeah.
So I spend the whole day going to these Whole Foods, and this is on a Thursday, and by Monday I was being onboarded to the Whole Foods Forager program, which is insane and
Right.
incredible because it takes years to get onboarded to Whole
Yeah.
Foods, like decades.
Yeah.
And a lot of money and a lot of like effort, and usually brokers are involved. And
Yeah.
um, I didn't have a license. I didn't have insurance. Like you can't just sell cookies to the general public. You have to have
Right.
like, it's a very highly regulated industry. You have to
Yeah.
have licenses and insurance and meet all the regulatory standards. And
Yeah.
so fortunately, it takes about 6 months to get onboarded to Whole Foods. So I was able to find a commercial facility in Queens that I could rent on the weekends when I needed. I got my food handler's license. I got all of the insurance and requirements that I needed. And I officially hit the shelves in 3 Whole Foods about 5 to 6 months later. And that was my go-to-market strategy, which is insane because
Yeah.
I thought I was like in the prototype phase, and then suddenly I was in the go-to-market phase.
Wow.
And so it grew from there. So I started in 3 Whole Foods in 2017. Officially hit the shelves in January of 2018. And then I grew from 3 Whole Foods to 10 Whole Foods. And then by the end of the following year, 2 full regions.
That's crazy. I love that. And it
It
just
was
speaks,
insane.
yeah, it speaks to the need.
It was insane.
Yeah, and to the quality of the product. That's so incredible and exciting. I love that. I'm going to be in New York this weekend, so I'm going to have to go to the Whole Foods and get some more cookies.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But what has been, because you've essentially shot
Did
out
we
like
not send you samples? Why does this keep happening? You
Yeah.
don't have my cookies yet?
I
I'm so
know.
sorry.
It's all good. I'm very excited
No,
to try them.
ask Vicky. She's the one.
I will. I'll definitely follow up on that. For you shot out like a rocket, and just hearing your story, I love hearing how it's a science to you, and it definitely makes sense with the Wall Street brain. And you explained it in such a way that even my, like, I went to film school brain can understand it. So thank you for that, first off. But with how quickly you went off, what has been the most rewarding part of all this for you?
Oh my gosh, just founding my own business. It's been the
Yeah.
most rewarding, wonderful. Like, it's such a gift every single day. I wake up and
Yeah.
I'm running my own business and defining my own strategy. It's incredible. It's just the greatest decision I ever made. I'm so lucky to be able to be living this life and to be
Yeah.
doing this. It's so rewarding. Like, I make cookies and I don't find that to be like the most I don't know, it's not
Yeah.
the most
challenging for
yeah, and well,
yeah.
cookies are actually
Yeah.
relatively challenging. There's a lot of math and
Yes.
science and chemistry involved, so that is not easy in manufacturing. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's not altruistic. It's not the most
Okay.
altruistic thing you could be doing. Like, I make
Yep.
cookies, but it is so rewarding to have something that I care about,
Yeah.
that I created, that I built, and to watch it grow, and to be able to do this every day, and not just to be a part of a cog in someone else's dream, but to be building my own dream and
Yeah.
creating a reality that never existed before. It's incredible. I mean, I absolutely love it.
Ugh, it's being a woman-run business, and you're still involved pretty much in the day-to-day, right? What is
Oh, yeah, no, I am. Yes, no, I am the day to day. I have a
yeah.
team, yes, and I have a team of over 9 people now, and it's
Oh, wow.
much larger than. But I mean, I was the whole business for many years, and I
Right.
still am. Like, last week, I was at the manufacturing plant because we've made a few adjustments to the recipe, so I was making sure that we were testing and everything was coming out perfect. And then I'm up in the middle of the night ordering packaging from China, and then on operations calls, just figuring out what our stock levels are, and we're
Yeah.
either out of stock or overstock. We're never like
Right. Yeah.
so if we're overstocked, I'm like trying to find liquidators to purchase the overstock, and if we're understocked, I'm like, where can we get more product from? How do we like move
Yeah.
it from one DC to another? Like, no, I am the whole business. It's every day, all day.
And why is that so important to you to keep it going that way? Because I feel like a lot of people at the level of success that you're at, they either allow themselves to get bought out, or they start handing things over and become the face of the company. So why is doing it this way so important to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been. I mean, I intentionally. I would first of all, I would love to be bought out. If someone wants to buy me, come let me know.
Yes.
Not opposed to that. That's
Yeah.
fine with me. That's the end goal. We're not quite there yet,
Mhm.
but of course, that's our aim. I would say it is my dream, and I am the consumer. And I feel like with a lot, certainly my frustration with a lot of the brands that I eat on a daily basis and have
Yeah.
eaten, almost always, almost every single one is a parent of a child with
Yeah.
a food allergy. And there's a lot of sympathy and love in those products. But what makes my product different and my company different is that I have empathy and sympathy
Yeah.
because I live with it every single day.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that those products made by parents for their children do not meet my needs as an adult.
Yeah. Yeah.
they don't meet my physical needs. They don't meet my emotional needs. Like food is so much more than just yes, first of all, nourishing my body and keeping me safe and healthy. But then also there's a tremendous psychological component to food, which is why I sort of honed in on cookies. Like I'm not a big cookie eater. I'm not even a big sweets person. I really like savory, salty snacks. Like I'm a potato chip girl, but a cookie has no purpose in life other than to make you smile,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yes.
not important enough to be a cake.
Yeah.
It's not special enough to be a croissant.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a very small, humble dessert that is meant to, like, in that moment, make you smile.
Yeah.
And so many of the gluten-free cookies that I'd been eating over the past 5 years, living in this very hectic world of finance in New York, made me sad. It did the opposite of make me smile.
Yeah.
And so that was like the thing that I like psychologically needed, which is
Yeah.
why it was so important to me to create something. Like I wanted to create like a cookie as a comfort food is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
You eat cookies because you need some sort of little hug, a personal hug that you can't get from someone else. And everyone has those memories of like baking with their mom or their dad or their grandma, and it being this wonderful aroma, and then like the taste of the cookies, and it's crispy on the outside and soft in the middle, and it's just this wonderful childhood memory.
Yeah.
And that had been cut off for me, and I wanted to create something that had that. And in the beginning, I was really intentional where I didn't go and try and get VC money or angel investors because I wanted to really be the expert in the room. I wanted to walk into a room and no matter who was standing there, whether they were a food scientist or a VC person or an operations person, that I knew as much, if not more, about the gluten-free industry than they did. And that meant me doing it myself. I learned very quickly that wasn't very hard to do because very few people knew very much.
Yep.
Even today, like now that I'm in manufacturing and I have relationships, there's only 12 gluten-free manufacturers in the entire US. There's 40,000 food manufacturers. Only 12 of them are certified gluten-free, which means there really isn't a lot of innovation at the manufacturing level.
Yeah.
There's a lot of consolidation. Once like creators and founders like me create it in their kitchen, then they go to manufacturing and everything sort of gets operationalized into this one standard. So I was able to avoid that because I was like, I'm not going to go to one of those certified gluten-free facilities. I went to a specialty cookie manufacturer and they became certified gluten-free for me. So I was able to like start the whole process from scratch and really learn and understand the process and what ingredients matter, because some of the ingredients are not negotiable. They have to be a certain type, a certain brand, a certain quality, a certain spec in order to work. And if they use something else, there's just tremendous degradation to the quality. So I've been able to learn all of that and own all of that by being sort of, in the beginning, I was funding it myself. Now I have funding, but I'm still the CEO. I'm still in head of, I'm the CEO, so I'm the face, and I'm the marketing, and I'm sales, and then I'm also research and development.
That's not enough. We have to add more hats.
I do less of the operations these days. I've outsourced sort of the operation piece. Manufacturing has been outsourced for most years, but I'm still research and development and quality control when it comes to manufacturing. And I found that in some cases I would like to take a step back, but unfortunately the industry is not capable of that.
Yeah.
I have to be there and present.
I also, at the time that we're recording this, there's a lot of controversy in the celiac community right now that one of the brands that does provide us with just the goods that we used to be able to have prior to our diagnosis is just putting content out that is making the community not feel cared about. So to have that on my social media, and I won't name the brand because, but when we see it on social media and then I'm talking to you, it's just so comforting and nice to know that there are people out there providing gluten-free goods and caring about those that have celiac disease and making sure that they're cared for and cared about. So thank you. I appreciate it.
No, please. This is where the empathy, I feel it. I understand it. And it's really psychologically and emotionally impactful.
Yeah.
Food is so much more than just how we nourish our bodies. It's ceremony and it's community and it's how we relate to each other. And something as simple as a cookie can have a significant impact in your day.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a cookie that makes you sadder than you already were.
Yeah. Yes, that is so true.
You start to feel that and it starts to weigh on you. And so like with my branding and specifically, when I saw my competitors out there and there's new emerging brands, it was really important to me. I have a mascot Their name is Charlie. It's a little unicorn on the packaging, and Charlie is non-binary, so they are neither masculine nor feminine.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Charlie. They're really cute, but not too childish, because I really wanted, like, you know, kids who are diagnosed with this from either birth or very young to feel included in the process, the same way you do when you're in the cereal aisle and there's all those mascots. I really wanted children to resonate with my branding and my packaging. I wanted the colors to be bright and fun and inclusive. And then as far as adults are concerned, of course, I wanted the quality to be there. I wanted the taste to be there. And the flavor palette is a little more sophisticated, so adults can be satisfied, but kids still love it. Like, it's not so sophisticated that, I mean, they're cookies. But like, we have brown butter chocolate chip, brown butter shortbread, we have salted peanut butter. So a little bit more nuance and sophistication to the flavor profile, but kids, my daughter absolutely loves them as well. So she's 4. My 2-year-old loves them too. She walks around just going, cookie, cookie, cookie.
I love that.
So yeah, like everything, every sort of inch and every angle and from the packaging to, we like flow wrap our cookies on the inside of the packaging to ensure that there's no cross contamination if you're like putting in a purse or a backpack or a lunchbox. Like, every single thing that I deal with on a daily basis, I've considered in the product.
Oh, I love that. We are approaching the end of our time, because I know you have 7,000 jobs.
I do.
To take care
I have
of.
a meeting in 4 minutes.
Yes. Do you mind if we do some quick rapid fire before you go? And then,
please, yeah.
Okay, cool. So my first one is, when do you find yourself needing to advocate for yourself the most in your celiac disease?
Oh, all the time, mostly at restaurants, and it's not necessarily intentional, but like, there's just not as much, like, gluten is in everything, as you know. It's a color, it's a preservative, and it's a filler, and a lot of people don't understand that. Even people within the community. So it's in imitation crab, it's in soy sauce, it's in spices. And so I'm constantly, with restaurants who are well-meaning, I'm constantly needing to ask additional questions to educate people about whether or not the dish is truly gluten-free or not.
Favorite city in your opinion for food?
Oh gosh, that's so hard. I have 3.
Okay,
I have 3. Rome, Mexico City, and Paris.
Love that. Favorite city?
Different kinds of food. Different,
exactly.
Like,
across the palette. Favorite city for exploring?
Oh, Rome is my favorite city for exploring.
And the city where you learned the most about yourself?
Oh, good question. Probably New York.
Okay. And my last thing that I'm going to ask you is, where can the people find you and your cookies?
Oh my gosh, so many places. We're in 43 states across the U.S. We're in major retailers, independent retailers, mom and pop shops, even bodegas here in New York. So please look for us. If you can't find us, please ask for us. Always, if there's a product that you buy online, always tell the store manager, really like politely, say, I buy this all the time on Amazon. You should stock it. If enough people ask, they will stock it. You can find us at MIGHTYLICIOUS.com. If you can't find us in your grocery store, at MIGHTYLICIOUS.com. We ship to all 50 states. If you order 3 bags or more, shipping is free. And of course, we have an Amazon storefront. And everything is actually 50% off right now. So if you go to our Amazon storefront, there's some fantastic coupons.
Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay, off there we go. And we'll make sure all the links are in the show notes so people can find you easily. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, Carolyn.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me this week for an episode of The Gluten-Free Advocate. For more information on what's discussed on the podcast, check out the episode description and/or my Substack, The Gluten-Free Advocate. If you have any questions or fun stories to share, feel free to reach out at hieatexplorelove@gmail.com. Till next time. This episode is produced by Leigh Francis Productions.